Now on Denver 7 News at 4, fines leading to foreclosure.
Everybody I've been talking to says, I didn't know, but I didn't know.
How Green Valley Ranch homeowners are blindsided by their HOA.
There's growing evidence that COVID infections can negatively impact men's sexual health. What researchers are learning that they hope can help them lessen the virus's impact on fertility. And the days of cheap rental cars seem to be over. Just how far in advance you need to be booking and ways you could still find a deal.
Plus, domestic abuse victims living with pain long after they leave.
Days when I have a lot of pain or I'm having bad headaches, it still bothers me some days.
We take a look at the lifelong issues victims are left with and how it's often overlooked. Thank you for joining us at 4. I'm Jessica Porter. Denver prosecutors are expected to drop all charges against a former security guard accused of killing a man at a protest. Matthew Dolliff shot and killed Lee Keltner during a confrontation outside the Denver Art Museum in October of 2020. He was working as an armed security guard for 9 News at the time. Dolliff was immediately arrested and charged with second-degree murder. He pleaded not guilty last year, claiming he shot Keltner in self-defense. The case was scheduled for a jury trial in April. Commerce City police are looking for a woman accused of shooting another woman in a fit of road rage this morning. Police say they believe 24-year-old Destiny Edwards shot the other driver. This is on 62nd and Kearney Street. Police say they found both cars off the road and a woman with a gunshot wound. Edwards was nowhere to be found, and police are still looking for her. Let's take a live look outside. The snow is come and gone, and it left a chill throughout Denver today. Meteorologist Stacey Donaldson joining us now. Stacey, last night was one of the coldest March nights since the 1960s.
That's right, 7 below zero, and It's a new record low. It won't be quite as cold tonight, but still pretty chilly nonetheless. It looks pretty good out there out in Boulder. We're starting to see some melting with the sunshine out there. Same here for Denver, some clearing conditions for the Front Range. Our temperatures still in the teens here for the area. 20s off to the north toward Boulder, Erie, and Firestone, but still well below freezing. As for our wind chill factor, it feels like it's in the single digits across the eastern plains and northeastern Colorado up towards Sterling. Also in the high country from Leadville to Aspen into Eagle. Now, our satellite radar picture showing just some high clouds across our area, still snowing down through southern Colorado. So we're keeping an eye on that. We have some advisories and warnings still in effect for this area as the snow comes down. So the winter storm warning here around Trinidad, out just west of Springfield, still in effect. As for our Thursday planner, the rest of the evening will be at 21 degrees by 5 o'clock and then into the teens for the rest of the night, with that overnight low around 2 degrees tonight. So that's an improvement as compared to last night's below zero overnight lows. We'll be talking more about this nice warm up coming our way on the 7-day forecast in a few minutes.
Thank you, Stacey. Dozens of homeowners in Green Valley Ranch are facing foreclosure, not from their mortgage companies, but from their homeowners association. There are several HOAs in Green Valley Ranch, and since the start of the year, about 60 homeowners have reported their properties are in foreclosure due to not paying HOA fines and fees. Now, we spoke to one of those homeowners, Monica Villela, who says that she hasn't missed a mortgage payment in 17 years and doesn't understand how her HOA has the power to take her home.
This is not fair doing this to these families, especially with 4 kids. In this situation, only one income, and this is horrible. It's been affecting us a lot.
Tonight at 6, we're going on more in depth on homeowners associations in Colorado, and you'll hear from Monica and from Denver's Department of Housing Stability about their plan to help homeowners.
The national travel mask mandate will stay for now. That includes for airplanes, buses, trains, and other forms of public transportation. It was set to expire next week. The CDC extended it another month until April 18th. The agency says this will allow more time for public health agencies to develop more targeted policies. Now, there's still a lot to learn about how the pandemic response is being handled. At the public health level, the impact of decades of underfunding really came up from the start.
So they're responding to COVID using Excel spreadsheets, using fax machines and phones. So they're really using 20th century tools to respond to the pandemic.
Health policy group Trust for America's Health is out with its latest report card on how well states are prepared for the next emergency. We're talking everything from diseases to bioterrorism. They looked at a wide range of topics like vaccine rates and expanded services during emergencies. Now, there were fewer states in the top tier this year compared to last. Those are in green. 12 states improved in ranking and 16 dropped. The organization says the decline happened for a number of reasons, including a new measure that found fewer than half of Americans are considered protected by a comprehensive health system. It goes back to a boom and bust cycle for public health funding.
When public health is doing its job, most Americans and most lawmakers are not really aware of what they're doing to save lives and protect communities. So that funding goes down. That means that we're losing people and we're losing expertise at public health departments. And then when a crisis hits, there might be an influx of money, but that's not enough to keep people and to build that expertise and workforce over years of underfunding.
Now, there are some success stories like the racial gap closing on COVID vaccination rates, also new funding, partnerships, and policies for disproportionately impacted communities. Now, aside from increasing funding, the reports makes other recommendations, including paid sick leave, addressing health impacts of climate change, and investing in antibiotic resistance programs.
The latest rounds of high-level talks between Russia and Ukraine ended Thursday with no progress. A request for a 24-hour ceasefire was also shut down by Russia's foreign minister, who once again falsely claimed Russia was not attacking civilians. Almost 2.5 million refugees have fled the country, most escaping to Poland. Vice President Harris is there meeting with Poland's leaders and with refugees, promising another $50 million in U.S. humanitarian assistance.
The United States takes seriously that an attack against one is an attack against all.
The government funding bill approved by the House of Representatives Wednesday night includes $13.6 billion in aid to Ukraine for humanitarian, defense, and economic relief. The Senate is expected to take up and pass the bill before current government funding is set to expire tomorrow.
Inflation is impacting our wallets at nearly every turn. Gas, food, housing, utility bills. Overall, inflation is up about 8% from a year ago. That is the latest figure released today by the Labor Department. And that doesn't even take into account the recent spike in gas prices. The Federal Reserve is set to raise interest rates several times this year in hopes of easing rising prices. The first small increase is expected next week. Record high gas prices have more Americans considering electric vehicles. Car Guide Edmunds reports that online traffic related to hybrid, plug-in hybrid, and electric battery vehicles is up 39% over the last month. Nearly 1 in 5 people who visited Edmunds last week researched a green vehicle. The average transaction price for a new all-electric vehicle did climb about $60,000, and many models have wait times. Plug-in hybrid and regular hybrid vehicles are more widely available. Well, more research is pointing to COVID negatively impacting men's sexual health. What scientists are finding about specifically what's causing this and how they hope to learn to treat it in the future.
And the sky's the limit for billboards visible from an airplane. We'll introduce you to the local entrepreneurs behind flyby ads.